Welcome back, friends. This week we are talking stone, a natural, classic, timeless material that's wonderful to decorate with, but it is expensive to buy. Now, this week we're going to look at lamps in particular. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend £400 to £600 on a pair of stone lamps. So this week we're going to get the looks without spending the bucks. I just made that up. I like that. Do you like that?
Off to my favourite charity shop where the two Michaels are always in attendance, or Mike and Michael, to avoid confusion. And this place rarely lets me down. Look at the size of those. Two lamps. Somebody's trying to do a makeover to them. £7.50 each. So that's £15 for the pair. They're going to be absolutely perfect for the stone effect that I'm going to give to them. Now, I've perfected this technique over the years. It's the same base product every time, but then I add different ingredients to give different finishes. And I can promise you there's no paint used whatsoever. Almost all of the items that you're seeing now were found in charity shops, in thrift stores, at auctions. They were all discarded. They were all trashed. There were broken pieces, cracked pieces. But this technique covers a multitude of sins. Now let's have a look at these lamps and see how we're going to turn them into high-end dupes. They're a good size, a good shape and a good weight. They're by a decent manufacturer as well. Not terribly old. You can see here 2015 was the date of manufacture. And an electrical test has been run by the charity shop, so I know they're both safe to use. Now, somebody at some point in time since 2015 has decided to give them a little makeover. Well, it's not really floating my boat. So out comes the filler, the wall filler, the joint compound. I like to buy the loose powder in a 10-kilogram bag and the fast drying. I'm then going to use earth, dirt. I sometimes like to use cinnamon. I love that earthy colour. Coffee is a favourite of mine, particularly when it smells as gorgeous as this one. I've got some leftover grout. It's a coffee colour, and cayenne pepper is quite a firm favourite. I've noticed my ground mixed spice is somewhat out of date, so that's coming out, along with mixed herbs. I've run out of the chili flakes that I love to use, and I'm afraid this curry powder is just a step too far. It's making my eyes water. Just one more ingredient needed, and that's Bertie, the furry supervisor. Now come on, Bertie, I need you to come downstairs, supervise the work and do some nice poses for the camera. Oh, funny. Yes, really, really funny. Yeah, not professional. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. We can start. So first job is to take off all the labels. I don't need to do any sanding or anything like that. So it's just remove the labels, remove the bulb and remove the lampshade holder. I'm going to put those to one side because I may use them on another project. I like to use the wall filler in a powdered format rather than the ready mix, because then I can control the consistency. So always start by adding just a little bit of water and keep building up until you get it to how you want it to be. I find that if the weather is very cold, then I'll use less water. If it's really warm, then you add more water and it keeps your working time open longer. I mix in small batches as well because I find that it will set in the pot otherwise. So don't mix the whole amount that you need for the whole project. Just keep working in sections and then you stop and you mix up some more. I haven't put any protection over the flex or over the lamp holder because I'm going to do something with those. But if you wanted to keep them just as they are, then make sure to wrap some decorator's tape around them to protect them. When I apply the wall filler, I do it in a patting motion, and you'll find that that creates peaks. But as it starts the drying process, it gets easier to be able to keep working over that and smoothing it out. So I've used 2 batches in order to get it to this stage where it's fully covered. Now we can start going on with all the different herbs and spices. So the filler must still be workable. It must still be wet. If you find that you're doing a very big piece or it's a very hot day and the filler is drying really quickly, then put your spices on, put your soil on, whatever it is you're going to use whilst it's still workable. You can work in sections and then just work your way around the piece. People often ask me, well, do they all just fall off? And the answer is no, they don't, because you're really pushing and working them into the wall filler. So they are going to set in there. Now, I'm absolutely delighted that several of you have already tried this technique and you're getting great results with it. Drop me a message in the comments. Let me know, have you tried this faux stone technique? And if so, what did you do it on? Was it on a piece that you purposely thrifted in order to do it? Or was it something that you already owned that you were tired of, that you wanted to change the texture of? Because this works on any material. I've not just done ceramics using this technique, I've also done glass and I've done plastic. If you do get any of the mix on the flex or the bulb holder, then just use a damp kitchen towel and it will wipe off really easily. You may be wondering why I've set up a makeshift bench as opposed to using the kitchen table. And that's because I didn't want to disturb the arrangement that I did in my winter kitchen decorating. This is how it looked. And look how much it's grown. We haven't got anything flowering yet, which is absolutely fine because it's not flowering outside. These are narcissi, so they're going to be gorgeous yellow flowers. So I can't wait for that to happen. Anyway, back to the lamp. So this is going onto a plate just so I can move it around easily, and it's going to sit on the range overnight to dry. If it's particularly cold where you are, you could always start the process with a heat gun or a hair dryer. Now, I am going to get on with this one, and as if by magic, here we go. We now have two of them drying overnight. And as they dry, they lighten. So don't worry too much if they are dark when they're first done. What do we think, Bertie? Was that a good job? I think that's the furry wag of approval. Now, while those are drying, I popped over to the auctions, more on that on another episode, and they were giving away loads of free stuff. So they often do this. These two bits ended up in my car, and this technique is brilliant for anything that's chipped, cracked, broken, because it covers a multitude of sins. Now, this would have ended up in landfill, and now, drying on the range, it's going to be used in my home. It's now the next day and the lamps have dried really well overnight on the range. Now it is time to get on with the flex and with the lamp holder. I do a lot of wrapping. I love to wrap. I wrap flexes, I wrap lampshades. I even go with the lamp holders using different materials. I've even wrapped a chair. And what material to use for the wrapping? Well, I think we're limited by our own imagination, really. I've used string, twine, I've used florist wire, lace, ribbon, beads, whatever you can get your hands on, basically, whatever suits your decor, whatever colour coordinates. I save all my odd bits. I even downgraded a lamp recently, and so I took the wrapping off as I knew I'd be able to use the coir again, and actually I'm going to use some of it today. Now, the other things you'll need are scissors, a glue gun and glue sticks. So waste not, want not. I've got a little bit of previously used coir that I'd wrapped around a flex. I'm just going to trim off the end there so I've got a nice tidy edge. And then with a glue gun, I'm going to start right at the base of the lamp. So as tight as I can possibly get it up to the base, and then get a really good firm fixing, because we're only really going to use glue at the start and at the end. So it needs to be really quite tight. And I think with this stick glue, you just have to keep your finger on there for a few moments as it dries, and then it's really quite solid. And then it is just a case of wind around and around and around until you get to the end, and repeat the process. onto the lamp holder now. I want to change the shape of it, so I want it to be quite cylindrical and the same diameter from top to bottom. So I'm going to put lots of glue on and then do plenty of wraps at the bottom to bring the shape out, and then carry on just wrapping all the way up to the top until it's quite even all the way up. Now, you'll have seen me with the hairdryer. What's that for? Well, if you've got any glue strands, it just helps to get rid of those. I think they're too thin, so I've gone for another round, and the thickness I think is better for what I have in my mind. Now, packages have arrived. I ordered some light bulbs. I also ordered something for Bertie, and I don't know how he knows it's for him because it's not food. So watch till the end of the video if you want to see what Bertie's present was. Now, let's have a look at these light bulbs. A great way to change a look and feel of a lamp is as simple as changing the light bulb. I found these on Amazon, so I will link them below. And I just thought they were a super sexy shape, and a shape not too dissimilar to the curves of the lamp. So if you fancy doing something different with your lamps, take the shades off, do something to cover up the lamp holder, and then add an ornate bulb. Love the way these lamps have turned out for £7.50 each, plus the bulb, plus a little bit on the filler and the whatever material it is that you use to wrap. I think these look really high end, and the beauty is they are unique. Nobody else has got them. If you buy them from a high-end store, other people are going to have them. And actually, I like my home to be unique, to be a reflection of me, not to be a carbon copy of others. And don't forget the crock and lid. We've still got to style those. So what was Bertie's present? It was 30 used tennis balls.